When it hurts, pain is a signal, not a sentence. Pain isn't the end. It's a message calling us to change, learn, or grow. You are not your circumstances, no matter how bad it gets. Your situation doesn't define your identity. Ask the right questions instead of why me. Ask what now? What can I learn? Or how can I grow? Take 100% responsibility, even if it's not your fault. Your healing is your responsibility. Rewrite the meaning. Every painful event can be reframed into a chapter of transformation. Act in spite of the pain. Waiting to feel okay before moving forward keeps you stuck. Courage is moving while hurting. Turn your scars into service. Your healing isn't just for you. It becomes someone else's survival guide. Let me begin with a simple truth. Pain is universal. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you've done, you will hurt. Loss, rejection, failure, heartbreak, they don't ask for permission, but I want you to hear me clearly. When it hurts, it doesn't mean it's over. It means something needs your attention. See, pain is not a punishment. Pain is a signal, like the check engine light on your dashboard. It's saying, hey, something's off. Slow down, look here, fix this. And in that moment, when the tears come, when your chest tightens, when you feel like you can't breathe, you're faced with a choice. Not a comfortable one, but a powerful one. You can become the pain, or you can become the person who rises through it. Some people get stuck in the storm because they begin to believe they are the storm. But hear this, you are not your circumstances. You are not your pain. You are the one who gets to respond to it. And that makes all the difference. Now I get it. When you're in the middle of heartbreak or failure or loss, the mind screams, why me? But let me ask you, what happens if you flip that? What if you start asking, what now? What if you lean in and ask, what can this teach me? What if the worst thing that happened to you could become the best thing that ever happened for you? Because here's another truth. Your healing is your responsibility, even when it's not your fault. Even when you didn't choose the pain, you do get to choose what happens next. There's a power in owning your pain. Not denying it, not pretending you're fine, but choosing to stand in it and say, I'm not done yet. Some of you are carrying stories right now that hurt to touch. But here's what I want you to know. You can rewrite what it means. You can choose to see that betrayal as the thing that made you discover your worth. That failure, maybe it was your greatest teacher. That heartbreak, the moment you remembered how deeply you can love. And here's the kicker. You don't have to wait until it stops hurting to move. If you wait for all the pain to vanish before you take a step forward, you'll stay stuck. Courage isn't about being unafraid. It's about acting despite the fear. Healing isn't a light switch, it's a daily choice. One breath, one step, one decision at a time. And finally, this part matters. Your pain is not pointless. The story you survived today can be the survival guide for someone else tomorrow. So when it hurts, and it will, don't ask, how do I escape this? Ask, how can I use this? Let your pain build you, not bury you. Let your story inspire, not isolate. And let the world watch as you turn scars into strength. Pain, in all its forms, emotional, physical, psychological, is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. We're taught to run from it, numb it, avoid it, or bury it. But the truth is, pain is not here to destroy us. It's here to deliver a message. Imagine your body didn't feel pain. You could put your hand on a burning stove and not know you were being injured. That signal, the pain, is a gift because it alerts you that something isn't right. The same is true for emotional pain. It comes to show us what's broken, what needs attention, what needs to be healed, changed, or released. When life hurts, when we experience loss, betrayal, failure, heartbreak, our natural instinct is to feel like something is wrong with us. We internalize it. We feel like maybe we deserved it, or maybe we're cursed, or maybe this is just how it ends. But pain isn't a prison sentence. It's not a lifelong identity you have to carry. It's not a judgment against your worth. It's a call to awareness. It's the universe, life, or your deeper self saying, wake up, there's something here you're meant to learn. Slow down, you're going in the wrong direction. Let go. That thing or person you're clinging to is hurting you more than helping. Grow. You've outgrown this level of your life. But because pain doesn't speak in words, it shows up as anxiety, sadness, anger, or confusion. That's its language, and unless we stop and listen, we misread its message. People often say, time heals all wounds, but time doesn't heal if you don't learn what the wound came to teach you. That's why some people live for decades stuck in the same unresolved pain, playing the same patterns, reliving the same heartbreak, just with different names and places. To truly heal, you have to ask yourself, what is this pain trying to tell me? What am I being asked to look at? Where am I being called to grow, change, or set boundaries? When we start treating pain as a signal, something to pay attention to, not something to run from, we begin to transform. We shift from victims of our circumstances to students of our experiences. And the best part is, when you truly get the lesson pain came to deliver, it often doesn't need to stay. It did its job. It moved you, woke you up, cracked you open, and reminded you that you are still alive. When life knocks us down through a loss, a betrayal, a failure, or any kind of adversity, it's easy to let that moment define us. We start to wrap our identity around what happened. We say things like, I'm just unlucky, I'm broken, I'm a failure, or this is just who I am now. But that's the trap, believing that what you're going through is who you are. You are not the divorce. You are not the job you lost. You are not the diagnosis. You are not the abandonment, the mistake, the rejection, or even the trauma. These are chapters in your life, not the title of your story. Circumstances are temporary. They shift, they change, they evolve. But identity is who you choose to be in response to those moments. And there is a world of difference between being in pain and becoming the pain. Between facing a problem and turning into the problem. It's crucial to realize that no matter how overwhelming the situation, you still get to choose how you see yourself in the midst of it. That's the beginning of reclaiming your power. For example, someone who fails a business doesn't have to walk away thinking, I'm a failure. They can walk away knowing, I've learned something most people never do. I now have experience. Someone who's been hurt in a relationship doesn't have to carry the belief, I'm not lovable. They can say, I now know the signs, I now know my worth. Circumstances might change how you feel, but they don't change who you are unless you let them. And more importantly, they don't control your future unless you surrender your identity to them. Think of a storm. It can rage all around you. The wind howls, the sky darkens, the rain crashes down. But no matter how fierce the storm, the sky above it is always blue. That calm sky is still there, even if you can't see it in the moment. That sky is who you really are. In hard times, it's easy to feel small, insignificant, forgotten. But you are not what happened to you. You are not the chaos surrounding you. You are not the opinion of people who didn't see your worth. You are the one who can rise, rebuild, and redefine. You are the author, not the page. When pain hits, when disappointment crashes down, when life feels unfair or overwhelming, the first question most people ask is, why me? It's human. It's reflexive. It comes from a place of confusion, shock, and helplessness. But the problem with why me is that it rarely leads us anywhere empowering. It points the finger outward or downward. It leads to blame, to bitterness, to victimhood. It invites self-pity, not self-reflection. And most dangerously, it can convince us that we are powerless, like life just happens to us, and all we can do is endure the damage. But what if, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we asked, "What is this here to teach me?" That one shift can open a completely different path, because when you ask a better question, you get a better answer. And when you get a better answer, you make a better move. Pain will often show up with no warning and no explanation. And in those moments, we can either obsess over causes we'll never fully understand, or we can focus our energy on what we can do next. So instead of "Why did they hurt me?" try asking, "What boundaries do I need to set now? What did I ignore that I need to pay attention to next time?" Instead of "Why did I fail?" consider, "What did I learn from this attempt that I couldn't have learned any other way? How can I come back stronger?" Instead of "Why did this fall apart?" ask, "What part of me is being invited to grow, to rise, to change direction?" These questions are more than just words. They're tools. They help you take responsibility without shame. They help you find meaning without blaming yourself or others. They help you move forward without getting stuck in an endless loop of what-ifs and regret. And not every answer comes right away. Sometimes you sit with the question for days, weeks, months. But when you start asking the right ones, your mind shifts from surviving the pain to understanding its purpose. Questions are powerful because they direct your attention. They decide what part of the story you focus on. When you ask shallow questions, you get shallow insight. But when you dig deeper, when you start asking questions that challenge your perspective, you start finding clarity, wisdom, and even strength in the middle of the struggle. You may not get to choose the moment of pain, but you absolutely get to choose what you ask in the aftermath. And those questions shape everything that follows. There's a difference between blame and responsibility. Blame looks backward. It's about pointing fingers, assigning fault, and replaying the past. Responsibility looks forward. It's about ownership, power, and the ability to change what happens next. When life hurts, this distinction becomes crucial. Taking 100% responsibility does not mean you caused everything that happened to you. It doesn't mean the pain was your fault. It doesn't mean you asked for the betrayal, the failure, or the loss. But it does mean this: what happens next, how you heal, how you respond, how you rise, is entirely in your hands. And that's not punishment, that's freedom. Because as long as we wait for someone else to fix it, apologize, change, or make it right, we are handing over the keys to our healing. We're saying, "I can't move forward until they act differently." That's emotional imprisonment. The truth is, people may never say sorry. Circumstances may never become fair. Justice might not come in the way you imagined. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. In fact, it means the opposite. You are powerful because you get to choose your next move regardless of what happened. You don't control the wound, but you do control the bandage. You don't control who broke you, but you do control how you put yourself back together. You don't control the storm, but you do control how you anchor yourself through it. When you take 100% responsibility, you shift from being a passive character in your life story to being the author. You start asking, "What do I need to learn from this? What's my next right step? How can I grow from this, not just go through it?" This mindset doesn't come easy, especially in pain, especially when someone else was clearly in the wrong. But refusing to take responsibility because someone else is to blame is like refusing to clean up your side of the street because your neighbor's yard is messy. Their chaos doesn't excuse your inaction. Responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about empowerment. It's about reclaiming your life from whatever tried to take it from you. And when you own your role, not in causing the pain, but in crafting the response, you become someone who's no longer defined by the wound but strengthened by the recovery. Events in life are neutral until we assign meaning to them. What happened is one thing. What we believe it means is something else entirely. That meaning is what shapes our emotions, our identity, our future choices, and ultimately our destiny. And in the face of pain, it is very easy to assign meanings that limit us, break us, or define us in ways we were never meant to be defined. Painful moments often come with internal narratives. I failed, so I'm a failure. They left me, so I must not be enough. This happened, so I must not deserve better. But none of these are facts. They're interpretations, stories we tell ourselves when we're hurting, scared, or trying to make sense of chaos. And the danger isn't just in the event that hurt us, it's in the meaning we attach to it. Because once a meaning is locked in, it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, it starts running the show in silence. But here's the truth. You can rewrite the meaning. Just because something happened doesn't mean you have to accept the first story your mind told you about it. You are allowed, no, you are empowered, to give that experience a different meaning, one that serves your growth instead of your suffering. Yes, you lost the job, but maybe it meant you were never supposed to settle for less than your potential. Yes, you went through the heartbreak, but maybe it was the breaking open that allowed you to finally meet yourself. Yes, you were betrayed, but maybe it was the moment you learned how deeply you deserve to be respected and valued. This doesn't mean denying the pain. It means refusing to let the pain be the final editor of your story. You get to take the pen back. You get to decide how this moment fits into the bigger picture, not as the ending, but as the turning point. Sometimes we look back on the worst moments of our lives and realize they carried hidden gifts: resilience, awareness, courage, clarity. But you don't have to wait years to find meaning. You can start asking now, what can this teach me about who I really am? What part of me is being shaped, sharpened, or stretched by this experience? How can I use this moment as fuel instead of letting it be a chain? When you change the meaning, you change the emotion. When you change the emotion, you change your energy. And when your energy shifts, your entire direction begins to move. The same story that once weighed you down can become the one that lifts someone else up, once you choose to tell it from a place of power. One of the greatest misconceptions about healing, growth, and moving forward is the belief that we have to feel ready before we act, that we have to wait until we're no longer hurting, no longer afraid, no longer unsure. But in real life, especially in seasons of deep pain, waiting to feel okay before taking action is one of the biggest traps we fall into. Pain has a way of paralyzing. It convinces us to put life on pause. I'll try again when I'm stronger. I'll speak up when I'm no longer scared. I'll move forward when I stop hurting. But the truth is, the strength you're waiting for is often hidden inside the very steps you're avoiding. Confidence doesn't show up before you act. It shows up because you did. Healing doesn't arrive and then give you permission to move. It unfolds as you move, and courage isn't something you summon after the fear is gone. It's something you choose while the fear is still whispering in your ear. Acting in spite of the pain doesn't mean pretending you're fine. It means acknowledging the hurt, but refusing to let it be the final word. It means waking up with tears in your eyes, and still choosing to take the next small, brave step. It means writing when your hands are shaking, speaking when your voice cracks, showing up when your mind tells you to disappear. There is immense power in motion. Even the smallest step forward creates momentum. Even 1 inch of movement separates you from the version of yourself that was stuck yesterday. The act of doing, even while you're scared, even while you're grieving, sends a message to your mind and body: we are not done. And no, you won't always feel ready. You won't always feel brave, but action doesn't require perfection. It only requires willingness, the willingness to try, the willingness to risk looking foolish, the willingness to fail forward, because that willingness is what transforms pain into growth. There are days when all you have is enough strength to take one step. That one step matters. And on the days you don't even have that, the decision to breathe and stay in the game is an act of courage in itself. The pain may not leave overnight. The fear may not vanish after one try. But movement creates space. It disrupts the paralysis. It brings air into the suffocating places of your life. And over time, those tiny steps, taken over and overbuild a bridge from where you are to where you're meant to be.